Hey guys, Scott Longyear here. You know, I was thinking that as I pray, I pray pretty impatiently, and I want God to move in a really quick way. So most of the time when I come and I pray, I don't say, hey God, here's something that would be great, and whenever you get around to it. Like if you have a chance, or I know you got a lot going on, and usually I pray, and I'm like, God, here's a need, and my request is that it would be met just right away, that you would move, and that you would move on my timetable. And sometimes when I pray and I don't see God move on my timetable, I begin to question things like, well, maybe God doesn't really care about me, or maybe God's just pretty distant right now, or what's going on. And maybe if I let that go on long enough, I even think, well, maybe God really doesn't love me that much if He's not really moving on my timetable. Well, I had a good reminder out of John chapter 11, verses 5 and 6. John chapter 11, verses 5 and 6. The scene is this, that Jesus has a good friend, Lazarus, and Lazarus is very, very sick. And so you would think that Jesus, hearing that Lazarus was sick, would go and would see Lazarus right away. But there's an interesting thing that it says. John chapter 11, verse 5, it says, now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So Jesus has great love for this family. And then verse 6 says, so when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. What? Jesus loves this family, and he hears that Lazarus is sick. And so because he loves them, and because he hears that Lazarus is sick, he stays for 2 days longer. Because he loved them, he waited. That's really weird, isn't it? Well, you know, sometimes God doesn't operate on our timetable, and sometimes he sees the big picture. And if you go on and read this story, what you find is that Lazarus actually dies while Jesus is away. And then when Jesus comes on the scene, the people are giving him a hard time, saying, hey, if you were here, Jesus wouldn't have died, or Lazarus wouldn't have died if you were here. But Jesus pulls off this great miracle and raises Lazarus from the dead. So Jesus knows what he's doing when he waits for 2 more days. He could have gone and visited Lazarus when he was sick, or he could have gone and raised him from the dead and pulled off this great miracle. But because God operated on his timetable, or Jesus operated on his timetable and not theirs, he was able to do great things. You know, he sees the big picture. He knows all things. He works all things together for his good. And his ways are not our ways, and thankfully so. So if God is being a little bit maybe on his own timetable, or not moving as fast as you would like, it might be because he loves you, and he has some great things in mind for that, for you. So if he's not on your timetable, maybe that's a good thing. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.